When you're a perfectionist who tethers your self-worth to your performance or needs external validation just to feel good about yourself, any choice point that could further support the narrative of you not being good enough, that's super painful. So you avoid it. You wait. You don't decide. You stay in overwhelm. You stay at the mercy of time, money, space, certainty, confidence. If you are ready to burn bright instead of burning out, to lead without losing yourself, and to enjoy the life you have worked so hard to create, then keep listening. I'm your host, America's leader on rewiring perfectionism, CLG, and this is Perfectionism Rewired, the podcast. Welcome to Perfectionism Rewired. Today we're talking about all the ways and whys perfectionists wait and what it's costing you. Even if you're like, CLG, I don't wait on things. I do without delay. I am going to reveal to you the ways that you are waiting. As perfectionists, we wait for more time. We wait for more money. We wait for more information. We wait for more confidence. We wait for more space. We wait for more support. And number one, we wait for more certainty. I'm just waiting to be totally sure. Those are the most popular ways perfectionists love waiting. In today's episode, I am breaking down all of those ways. And if you right now are like, CLG, I don't wait. My problem is with patience. Waiting for you probably is disguised as indecision, needing to be 100% sure, getting confused, or overwhelmed. Those are other ways that we as perfectionists keep ourselves waiting, which all waiting is holding ourselves back. Waiting is a subtle self-sabotaging pattern. There is a link in the show notes to the episode 6 Sneaky Ways That Perfectionists Unknowingly Self-Sabotage, along with episodes on procrastinating, victim mode, and all the other concepts I touch on in this episode. Okay, first, let's get into the why. Why is it that perfectionists are spectacular at waiting and not deciding? We perceive waiting as a shield, like waiting is shielding us from believing even more that we're not good enough. I touched on this in an episode that's linked in the show notes on fixed mindset versus growth mindset. Fixed mindset is when your subconscious believes your intelligence, abilities, capacity, and talents are fixed. Like, this is as good as it's ever going to get. You are no longer going to grow or develop or evolve as a human being. When you are in that fixed mindset, everything you do, all of the outcomes you create become evidence in the worst game you could ever play with yourself, which is whether or not you are good enough. When you're a perfectionist who tethers your self-worth to your performance or needs external validation just to feel good about yourself, any choice point that could further support the narrative of you not being good enough, that's super painful. So you avoid it. You wait. You don't decide. You stay in overwhelm. You stay at the mercy of time, money, space, certainty, confidence. This is why you might be very successful already. Like most people in your life think, man, you've got your stuff together, yet you still feel inadequate. You are unable to enjoy the life that you have worked so hard to create due to the perspective you are viewing the world and the story that you have placed on top of everything, which is that you're not good enough. The story of your self-worth is tethered to what other people think about you, and that you're only as good or as valid or as worthy as your last achievement was. Another reason why perfectionists love to wait is because if we're waiting, we tend to believe we're not failing. However, that is not true. If you're waiting, you're not actively failing. you're passively failing, which is the worst because when you're passively failing, you don't get any of the lessons that you get when you actively fail. When you actively fail, you get new lines of discovery. If you're waiting, you're killing your satisfaction, your self-trust, and your confidence slowly. If you're waiting, you are never seeing what you're actually capable of. Especially as a perfectionist, when you are waiting, you are not making the impact on this world that only a perfectionist is capable of. When you are waiting, you are living this status quo life where you're not really succeeding, or if you do, you don't feel proud about it. All you can look at is what you could have done better, should have done better. You automatically go to criticize myself, not feel good enough, get back on that hustling for my worth train. Imagine if Dolly Parton, RuPaul, Tina Fey, Mr. Rogers, Julia Child, RBG, Serena Williams, Beyonce, Adele, Steve Jobs, Dyson, MLK Jr., Albert Einstein, Sarah Blakely, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Walt Disney, Marie Kondo, Tyler Perry, Bethany Frankel, Ashley Longshore, Brene Brown, Big Sean, Megan Thee Stallion, Gloria Steinem, Reese Witherspoon, Lizzo, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Jane Goodall, Lucille Ball, Nelson Mandela, Jennifer Lopez, Lisa Ling, Pharrell, Issa Rae, Hildegard von Bingen. Imagine if all of them, which by the way, those are all perfectionists, decided to wait. Imagine if they did not make and continue to make an impact on this world that they, as a perfectionist, are only capable of. That's why this episode is really important. So now we're going to get into all of the ways that perfectionists wait and what it's costing you. Number one, waiting for more knowledge. You are waiting for more information. This is a go-to for driven perfectionists because we love identifying as lifelong learners. However, we often forget the active part of learning, like the implementation, application, and experimentation. Notice this theme of passivity and how it puts you at the mercy, in this case, of needing more knowledge before you can move forward. You could spend the rest of your life researching and still not have enough information. This is procrastinating. It's when you feel like you're making progress, however, you're not. And there's also a point of diminishing returns when it comes to knowledge and information, where too much knowledge creates confusion, the paradox of choice. The most efficient and impactful way to learn is to take action. Learning by doing. Make a choice and then course correct as you go. Decide that you always make the right choice. It's either the right choice the first time or you will make it right. Even if you have an A+ plan and extensively research every single worst case scenario, there are going to be unexpected plays when you're out in the field. Only then will you discover that you didn't know what you didn't know. That's active learning. As an active learner, you are courageous. You are the perfectionist applying and acting on knowledge in the field of life, taking intellectual knowledge and living it, making it embodied knowledge. Do you ever say to yourself, I already know this. I know that I shouldn't ruminate on this, but I still replay work that day over and over and over to the point where I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about them? Or do you ever say, I know how to relax, but I'm just not doing it right now? Unless you are doing it, you do not actually know it. What you have is an intellectual understanding. Think about surfing. You could have an intellectual understanding of how to surf. You could read all the books, take all the online courses. You could know about board, waves, paddling. That does not mean you can surf. That does not make you a surfer. Like, you can know how to climb K2. You can study it, you can research it, you can have looked at and empirically extracted data from the last 5,000 people that have successfully climbed K2. Does that mean you can climb K2? No. Now, you might say, I know how to de-stress. If I were to follow you around for a week, would I believe that you know how to metabolize your stress? Would it be reflected in your daily decisions? Notice if you are like, I just need to read one more book or listen to one more podcast. If that is you, stop, drop, and roll on over to an impeccable boundary with yourself. Draw the line in the sand and say, I'm not going to fill myself up with any more knowledge until I act on what I've already learned. I was president, varsity MVP of passivity. I loved things that are passive. I have now rewired my perfectionistic tendencies to implement in real time. I have trained my brain so passivity is no longer part of my learning process. Yes, I still feel uncomfy a lot of the time. The difference is it doesn't slow me down. I do without delay and decide that any uncomfortability, any doubt means that I'm at my growth edge, that I am on to something stunning. This is how my coaching practice, Perfectionist Solutions, remains the most cutting edge practice globally. I continue to integrate tools that nobody else is talking about, like interoception, fascia, how emotions are made, sensation signals, prediction errors, neurogenesis, perspectacles, etc. Because I not only understand them intellectually, but I experiment, play, and apply them daily. It's how I make neuroscience digestible and design practical perfectionist solutions. Now, really stepping into the truth booth, it was only when I stopped waiting on all the things we're covering in this episode did my coaching practice, Perfectionist Solutions, and podcast, Perfectionism Rewired, blow up, like just get massively popular. I stopped waiting for more time to get my website to match what ideally I wanted my website to look like before putting it live. I stopped waiting for more money to hire people to design a spider web of marketing funnels. I stopped waiting for more knowledge to publish a podcast episode. I stopped waiting for more confidence to put myself out there as America's leader on rewiring perfectionism. I stopped waiting for more certainty. My message of perfectionism is an asset, not a liability, goes against everything mainstream conditioning tells us, and say, hey, you can actually learn to take charge of your perfectionism and own it instead of it owning you. I didn't know if this would resonate. The evidence that I already collected said otherwise. In particular, just an example is 5 years ago, I put together this revolutionary training on cracking the code to perfectionism. I spent months developing it. I wallpapered the internet with invitations to attend. I made a special playbook for this complimentary training. This was free. Anyone could attend live or get the recording to watch it later. You don't even have to give me your email. So I did cracking the code of perfectionism. It was like a year's worth of work. I wallpapered the internet with invitations to attend. I made the special playbook so you could actually apply it and implement it. Guess how many people showed up to cracking the code to perfectionism, this complimentary training that I probably did at least 300 social media posts, videos, etc. about. Guess how many people attended? 2. Back then, I didn't have the confidence, courage, and conviction in myself I do now. So what I did is I just shrunk. I stopped talking publicly about my discoveries on adaptive perfectionism, neurosculpting, and intrinsic motivational patterns. I share that with you to know it was letting go of all of this waiting that makes this podcast and every episode possible. The perfectionists who have been positively impacted by this podcast in at least over 130 countries around the world. None of that would be in existence if I didn't decide to stop waiting. I just want you to think about that for yourself, and whatever things you want to change or things you've really been wanting to do, the only way that's possible is to get out of the waiting game. Waiting for more of anything puts you in victim mode. Why? Because when you are waiting, you're making certainty, money, time, space more powerful than you are. They are in control of you instead of you being in control of them. Time is dictating your choices. Money is a restriction instead of a resource. One thing I want every person who listens to Perfectionism Rewired to walk away with, it's empowerment. For you to be empowered by your perfectionistic tendencies and take charge of your life, not in a gripping, controlling, white-knuckling it type way, but to take charge of your life in an empowered way so that you are able to fully enjoy the life that you have worked so hard to create. Your action step for this episode is to stop it with all of this unnecessary waiting. Get off the sidelines and into the arena of your life and start playing. The next episode, we're talking about that I see too many perfectionists wait for is more confidence. Listen up. Taking charge of your perfectionism is so much easier than you have been led to believe. Whether you want to stop playing out worst case scenarios in your head or be joyfully present, ambitious again, you don't need more rigid rules, guesswork, or hard work in perfectionism recovery. You need a framework that helps you understand and, most importantly, rewire your perfectionistic habits from the inside out. It starts inside of Perfectionism Optimized. Besides the obvious mental health and wellness benefits, rewiring your perfectionism is the fastest way to figure out what's really underneath your perfectionistic patterns. This radically different, proven, proprietary approach helps you succeed by dropping the contempt and judgment that blocks change. Discover how to trust yourself, take control of your world, and feel truly empowered to own your perfectionism instead of being owned by it. Head on over to CourtneyLoveGavin.com and start your transformation today.